Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. To my Muslim brothers, I say, Wassalamu alaikum. I'm really honored to be here this afternoon to speak to intelligent people like your type, because I'm not an intellectual anyway. I only try my maximum best to be what God has created me to be. Steve, thank you very much. Professor, thank you. And Madam Patron, thank you for this opportunity. When Steve was speaking, it took my mind far back. Because I remember that very day when I called him to my office. Hello? I remember when I called him to my office and I told him, Nana, you have to go back to school. Hello? Yeah. I saw that virtually tears almost flowed from his eyes. Because he didn't understand why, because he was more or less like my junior brother, and then he was connected to me. He didn't understand why. And I told him that someday he would understand why he should go back to school. So the idea was, what is he going to do? Because he did building. Then I told him that when I look at you, by virtue of your date of birth and your name, you're supposed to enter into graphic designing or advertising. He said, me to you. I remember very well, he said that people have done visual art for 3 years and they fail. And he's going to use less than 6 months to do Novdeg, or so they call it. And he doesn't wrap his mind around how it was going to pass. And the only thing I told him that greatness, that talent is already inside of you. When you begin, it will begin to unfold. So just go and register. So he registered, A led to B, the results came, he passed, he filled the various schools. Or say, take him from a Mesobenia University. Then I was there, he called me that Winneba Afana. Then the story gets us to where we are today. I want to ask a question. How many of you here want to be employers? And how many of you want to be employees? And how many of you doesn't know whether to be employers or employees? Because the issue is, if you don't understand and know what you want to become, there is no way you can achieve it. And the reason why I ask this question is because this seminar, this lecture, is for entrepreneurs. So if you don't want to be an employer, because entrepreneur is an employer, then I think they can excuse us. So that only those who want to be employers or entrepreneurs can remain. Because Bible says that do not feed that which is spare to swines. Swine simply means that people will not take advantage of the knowledge and put it to good use. So if you're still seated here, then I presume that you want to be an entrepreneur or an employer. My second question is, how many of you would one day in the future want to go to a friend and a colleague when you were in school to go and beg for money? You have friends on campus. When you're out of school, you go to your friend and then you go beg for money. You are broke because you don't have a job. I don't think anybody wants to do that. And if you don't want to do that, then you have to listen to me carefully. But the truth of the matter is, the world out there is a jungle. And you must understand how the system operates. For over 20-something years I finished school, I don't know where my certificate is. I've never seen it before. I just go home and handed over to my dad, and that was the end of it. As I talk to you now, my dad is dead, and I don't know where my certificate is. Maybe I have to go into the document to go and find, but I don't have time for that because I am living by that which is embedded within myself. You see, what people don't understand is there's a difference between intelligence and intellectualism. There's a great difference between that. Intellectualism is the accumulation of facts and figures. But intelligence is living by the knowledge of the divine that has been embedded within yourself. Intelligence is your DNA. And every single unit of your personality is founded on intelligence, not on intellectualism. That's why you can have people who are intellectuals, but yet they are not intelligent. 2, there's a difference between schooling and education. I'm saying all these things, this one, but I'm just giving you the preamble. I'm just laying the foundation so you can follow where I'm going. There's a difference between schooling and education. To be schooled is to go under tutelage, through structures, mechanically. But to be educated, you don't necessarily have to go through school. So I think Rollins' words should be rather schooled illiterates, not educated illiterates. Because an educated person can never be an illiterate. And there are a lot of people who have been schooled, but they are not educated. I always give this classical example that if you are educated and you are an accountant, you wouldn't go to somebody's company and add zeros and ones to collapse his company. You are not educated. You are schooled. You have all the facts and figures. You are an intellectual, but you are not intelligent. So we must understand something that as we sit here, you must draw the line between what is school and what is education. And I say that the reason why a lot of schools are failing, because schools are expected to educate people, and I like this university's name, University of Education. Schools are supposed to educate people. And I say that the essence of education is to lead man to discover who he or she truly is and the purpose of his existence. Any educational or school institution that is unable to achieve this objective has failed its people. And the only reason why a lot of people today are struggling on the street and we have an unemployed graduates association in Ghana is because they've run through the schooling system, but they were not educated. So the point is, are you educating yourself or you are schooling? I remember those days, they have something they call Shingard. When they are going to write examination, they write small, and they hide it somewhere. You are educating yourself. You are satisfying your lecturer. Sorry, you are schooling yourself. You are satisfying your lecturer. You are not educating yourself. And someday, when you get out of school, you would understand what it means to be schooled and not educated. And that brings me to my area that I'm supposed to address, which is life outside of school. I'm in no place to tell you life on campus, because currently you are on campus, so you have the authority to speak. I'm not on campus yet. I'm not in school yet, but I am out of school. So I would rather focus on life outside school. When Steve gave me this topic, I was confused. And I didn't know, what am I going to talk about? God, this is something, it's not written in the pages of books. Life outside school, it's not written in the pages of books that I can go and make research and come and do my presentation and all those things. So it was a big task for me. So actually, I got here this morning not knowing what to talk about. So I said to myself, the divine inside me must speak to the needs of the audience. So I set my intellect out of the space for my intelligence to flow, so that everybody would be able to have what it needs to have before the person leaves this auditorium. Along the line, Professor made my work a little bit easier, because there were a few things I was meditating on to talk about in the car, but I was like, hey, this is a school. And some of these things, when you go and say, the institution may frown on you. But when she started talking about subjects like the logos, talking about kinesis, talking about self-identity, talking about personality trait, emotional intelligence, and persona, then I said that the door is open. Now I can say what I want to say in peace, not knowing that I have not broken any rule of any institutions. Everybody on this planet Earth was created for a reason and for a purpose. And if you don't find this purpose, trust me, you're going to hustle in life. That's why when you read the book of Romans chapter 8, verse 28, it said, all things work together for good for them that know their God and are called according to his purpose. So we all came from an intelligent creator. And that intelligent creator brought us here for a reason and for a purpose. And each and every one of you sitting here today must find that purpose that has been assigned to him or her. I can sit here watching the crowds and I know who are good communicators and who are in the wrong place by just observing you. Because your physical traits speak so much about your element. So I know who belongs to this element and whether it's right at the right place of communication studies and who's supposed to go to building technology. I can just do that so easily because I've been doing this for many years. So the question is, what motivated you to come to the School of Communication? Have you really sat down to ask yourself that question? What is the reason why I decided to do communication? And what am I supposed to do with this communication? To finish, be a PR for a company or go to work in a radio station or whatever facility that communicators work. Or you are going to be a propaganda secretary for a political party. You see, you must educate yourself with a purpose. When you educate yourself without a purpose, you are just wasting time and resources. And this you must understand. So you should ask, what is the reason why I am doing communication? And what do I intend to achieve with this communication? Before even thinking of the fact that whether I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur or not to become an entrepreneur. I can trust you me. Some of you will end up doing different businesses. Because I've known people who have graduated and they are bakers selling bread right now, baking bread. I know people who have graduated and they are now doing online grocery sales business. And these people did banking and finance. I have met people who did mechanical engineering and now they are selling female clothing. So you must find your space. The biggest mistake we do as black people is that we don't have people to mentor us. We choose our courses based on the fact that somebody else has done it and is famous or successful. That is our biggest problem as black people. I remember growing up as a young man when I was in the secondary school at Accra Academy. We have what we call the career counseling department, where you go and you are counseled on what you are supposed to do. Unfortunately, those who counseled us lack knowledge of personality traits. There's a great musician, maybe most of you may know him. His name is called R. Kelly. This guy went to college and his dream was to become a basketball star, like Michael Jordan, because he admired Michael Jordan. He went for career counseling, and then the career counseling teacher told him that you are born a music giant. Unfortunately, the last thing he desired in his life was music. He didn't like music at all. And I understand him because a lot of people who I've mentored, when you tell them what they are supposed to do, that is the last thing they want to do. So what happened? One day they had a carol night, and then I think 3 groups were supposed to perform the song called Amazing Grace. One got ill. So the music teacher told the other teacher the career counselor told the music teacher to feature R. Kelly in place of the one who is ill. Actually, R. Kelly asked them to sign an undertaking because he thought they were trying to pull him to the music class, that he's only performing for that night. And the song that they performed was Amazing Grace. And he went to perform, and after the demo, it became what it is. So your greatness does not lie in your intellectualism. Your greatness lies in the divine abilities and capabilities that your Creator has embedded within yourself. And you must find, it's your responsibility. It's not the responsibility of professor to show you that. It's your own responsibility, because when you are coming into this world, you never knew her. You never knew Mr. Steve. You don't know me. You came to this world for your own journey, for your own errand, and to finish a particular purpose and go back home. So it's your responsibility to find. So you don't blame anybody when you fail in life. You have to blame yourself. So everybody in this life has a potential within himself. But the question is, how do you find this potential? After graduation, I worked for only 6 months. 3 months for my uncle Pasco Printing Equipment, which is an international multilateral company supplying printing equipment machines for all the big printing companies in West Africa. Because of that, I got to know a lot of people and all those things. Then I left and I became the general manager for pub advertising. I employed one of my colleagues, my classmate. I employed him as a production manager. My boss asked him to go because he was doing restructuring. And I told him that I came to agreement with this guy. If he has to go, then I would go myself. Because I'm a person who lives by my words. And I believe in what is right. And I listen to my conscience. So eventually, we all left. When I left, I swore to myself never to be a victim to circumstance no more. Because I cannot just wake up one morning, walk to office, drive the car, park, and get out in the evening not having a job. I decided never to put my destiny in anybody's hands anymore. So I decided to chart my own path. I need to start a company. I don't know what to do. I don't have money. Everything. I was in the room every time. My father called me. He said, should I give you some money to start a business? I said, no. I want to experience life myself so I can tell my own story. You made your own money. Keep it for yourself. I want to start my own story. Because you told me you bought your own plane ticket at the age of 21 during the colonial era, when people didn't even know about what is aborigine, and you flew outside the country. And you were the very first few people who flew outside the country. So why don't I chart my path? I was in the room doing what I need to do, and then one thing led to the other. I started my first company at Adabaka, a very small office. Then I moved to Dansoma, a more comfortable place. And then my destiny has to change because I was pursuing the wrong path. You can ask him. I'm a very good graphic designer. I can paint well. I can draw. I can do everything. I can single-handedly handle from pre-press to post-press without any supervision. I can control all the letterpress machines. I can control the speed masters and all the Code 64, everything. I know how to control them all by myself because I was a general manager. I know how to do color separation, pre-press, and everything. But my destiny was not in that space. When I find my space and destiny, I can tell you that what it took me, the period of time it took me to achieve what I've achieved, is less than 2 years. It's less than 2 years. In the real world, when you want to depend on intellectualism, if you want to depend on your certificate, people will use you to be rich. And that is why you are employed and are given peanuts. Because when you are employed, your employer pays you less than 10% of all that you work for him. This is the reality. You need to discover yourself so that you can become an entrepreneur. And this is all I want to tell you. If you don't discover yourself, you will be floating the sun. And I want to tell you one thing. But what I know and where our world is heading towards, don't think there will be job available for you. I'm telling you. There's no job. Because you see, when you look at the structure of the artificial intelligence that is coming, this your communication business will go out of job. I'm telling you for a fact. This multimedia system will go out of job. Because you're talking now, you want to write a book, and then you get, is it GP chat or something? You say it will give you the content, give you the everything, and then write the book within 5 minutes. You understand? You want to produce a movie, or you want to produce a particular script, it's going to do everything, give you animations and everything. So the intelligences that control this manifest creation is designing the system in such a way that they can control the system. That is their intention. And they are using technology now as a means to that objective. They started with certain institutions. They set up banking system, they set up media, they set up schools and all those things just to create a facility to serve their interest. And I'm speaking this way because I'm supposed to talk about life outside of school. So you will understand, if you understand the system, you understand why you sit this way. You understand? Because when you go to the factories, this is how we sit in the factories. So they are training you. The intelligences that control manifest creation is training us to work in their what? In their factories. And then they try to use systems to indoctrinate us to think in a particular fashion. So those who are able to discover themselves and now don't think the way they want us to think, they describe you as what? This guy is now thinking out of the box. That means that all the rest of the people are placed in a box. And to be able to think out of the box, you should be able to discover who you are. Because people can enslave you physically, they can do everything to enslave, but the only thing they can never enslave is the power of your imagination, the power of your mind. They can never enslave you. Because even the lunatic and the madman still imagines. And it is imagination that makes him appear to be a lunatic. And we all have been endowed with certain potentials. And these are the potentials we need in order to walk in this jungle of life outside of school. In school, you are safe because professor is here to protect you, giving you all the necessary knowledge. But when you go out of school, she's not there. She gave you certain examples of certain categories of people you are going to meet in the job place. Some are invasive, aggressive people. Are they your from them? Position which is yours. She will go somewhere, excuse my language, to a jujuma or something like that, and want to take it from you. You are with him or her in the same position. You come and place something under your chair, you sit on it, and you're polarized. These are real stories in the real world. What do you do? And the only way you can survive in this system is to find yourself and to find your space. They gave me much time. I didn't know it would be that short. I told him that hour is too much. But maybe they should give me a little bit of time to I can close it. If you don't find that space, you walk in this world without an edge. Because each and every one of us sitting here came to this world with two entities. And those entities, one is on our right side and one is on our left side. And when you come to our faith, which is the Christian faith, we call it guardian angels. These entities are responsible for your success. One is responsible for your success and the other for your safety. So if you find yourself and you walk within your space, naturally these entities becomes activated. So when somebody comes to put something on your chair, the one which is responsible for your safety would protect you. And when there is a business or an engagement that you need to go and transact, the one which is responsible for your success will make sure you are successful and opens the door for you. If you don't find yourself, they fold their arms. For instance, if somebody is born to be a graphic designer and he decides to be a builder, like as my younger brother was doing, his engine, not that he was going to be failing life, but he had to rewrite because the engines were full like this. Because the gifts and the talents that they had was designed for a graphic designer and not for a builder. So there's nothing they can do to help you. Until he switched the path and then came to where he is supposed to be, then the angels began to unfold. You might call it different name, different identity. That doesn't matter. You get it? Then the angel begin to release his blessings. And then wherever the door is locked, when he walks, the door opens. It's not because it's special or I am special. For me, I always say that when it comes to my field, if you don't want to entertain me, don't open your door for me. Because when I walk in, whatever I want, you give to me. It's not my responsibility. And I'm the type, I don't pray that long because I don't believe in long prayers. I don't believe in long prayers. I mean, Father, thank you for the day. You make it successful. And I thank you for everything. That's all. Because what I am aware is that greatness is inside me. That destiny is there. You understand? And what I am supposed to be, I'm already charting that path. So you need to find yourself. You need to find your greatness. This time is the period is so short that I cannot give you all the details. But if you want more, you can go to our YouTube handle, The Way Networks. It ends with an S, The Way Networks, where you can have different teachings, and it's all about personal development, how you become successful in this life. You find your element, you find your space. I want to close by saying that there's a statement that Einstein, I don't know if you all know Albert Einstein, since you all went to secondary school, you should know Einstein. Einstein made a statement, and that is a very profound statement. It says that in the light of knowledge attained and its glorious achievement, any intelligent student can grasp it without any troubles. But the years of anxious search in the dark, prolonged effort and exhaustion in confidence, and in the final emergence with the light, only those that experience it understands it. So life, there's something that is only understood by experience. What is communication? When you're an intelligent student, you can grasp without any troubles. But the energy behind communication that makes you a profound communicator, that when you stand in front of public and there's a problem, you're a PR for a company and you speak and the people will calm down, it is not in the classroom. It is within yourself. And that is the intelligence within yourself. And that is what you need to find out. And the last quote is by Longfellow. It says that the secret of great men is never made public, but it is their glorious achievement which is meant for public consumption. So you are here, then you hear Dangote. Oh, is there? Do you know what Dangote did? If I were to tell you the Dangote's secret, you'll be amazed that it is not really about lineage, but everybody at a certain point in time would have his own secret. And if you don't find that secret of yourself, forget it. Einstein, all those people that did inventions, Shakespeare, all those people that did inventions, they had a secret. Joan of Arc, all these people, most of the successful people in life actually never finished school. You know that? Bill Gates never finished school. Steve Jobs never finished school. Richard Branson actually never finished school. Henry Ford virtually didn't go to school. Joan of Arc was a peasant farmer, and she saved France from disaster. So most of the great people in life never went to school. Schooling is good. When you are schooled, it gives you an added advantage over the one who is not schooled, who has discovered himself. But the most important thing is to discover yourself. When you discover yourself, whether you have been to school or not, you become successful. But when you are schooled and you discover yourself, you become a trailblazer and a pace setter in life. So discover who you are and the ability that God has given to you. And someday you will thank me for telling me what I have told you. Thank you and God bless you.
I am Bismarck, member of the COMSA from Strategic Communication Department. This is an entrepreneurship program which was organized for members of the association and also students from different departments. This program has really helped us, and as we are going to proceed in our academic journey, it's going to help us because in Ghana, most of our students, we complete school and we don't have job, we don't have access to employment. So this seminar is going to be very beneficial to us to enable us to start our own business and how to handle our business whilst we leave this school and go out there to continue our life. So I think it's very beneficial to us, and we will grab every opportunity or everything that was said inside in order for us to embark on our academic journey and also be professional practitioners as communicators. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm Adeaponadi from Chemistry Department. This program has been so successful and I've enjoyed it. Since I've learned so many things from this program. As a student, you need to be self-employed. That is the most important thing. You don't need to rely on anyone and then you're working for that person. But you need to learn 2 or more things at hand in order to make yourself employed and also not depend on the government, as we have unemployed Association of Ghana, as I'm talking about some bits. This program went a lot. I've learned so many things. Thank you.
All right. So the program has been a success, and I think it was so fantastic. But knowing from the facilitators that going into a business, you should be able to have it in mind that you have to take risks. It's a whole lot, and also we should be mindful of whatever we're doing as to how we find our path. Okay, it's not about the professionalism, it's not about what we are doing here, but it is about what we are, called to do, and that is the passion for whatever you want to do. Yeah, so it's a very great program. It was awesome. Yeah.
The seminar was about entrepreneurship. As we students, it shouldn't be based on only our education. The education will not only be everything to us, but with the seminar, I got to know that entrepreneurship, to know about who I am and how to go about. Though I'm educated, it doesn't mean I should always go to the office to be a success. I can succeed with what I have today. Be a personal entrepreneur and work with life. Then I'll be successful in life with everything I do. Thank you.